You're listening to the Caregiving Network, hosted by Nikki. Over this first season of the Caregiving Network, we'll focus on caregiver well-being. How getting the support you need is vital, not only for yourself, but for your loved one as well. You'll hear stories from caregivers who have spent a great deal of time and energy living these experiences. Together, we'll build a community that supports one another as caregivers. Today, we'll take a look at dispelling the myth that families alone can provide all the care that an older person needs. We'll examine different sources of support available to caregivers and why it's important to reach out and get support, not only for your loved one, but yourself as well. So to begin, what is a caregiver? A family caregiver is an unpaid family member or friend who provides care to an individual who needs assistance. A recent survey estimates that there are 44 million caregivers over the age of 18 years old. Let's dig deeper into breaking down this myth. Can family members truly provide all the care an older person needs? Family members tend to willingly take on the role of caregiving as a way to give back to their family members, as they have taken care of you your whole life. With this, many caregivers try to face the role all on their own, as they believe they should be able to do it by themselves. But it does take a village, and there's no shame in asking for help. 1/3 of these caregivers struggle with their own health themselves. In many cases, they are alone in their caregiving work, and only 1/3 of these individuals seek help, which can lead to negative physical and mental health outcomes for the caregiver. Evidence shows that family caregivers of older adults are at risk compared to non-caregivers for higher rates of depressive symptoms, anxiety, stress, and emotional difficulties. Family caregiving is stressful, with the stress harming the caregiver and the recipient in ways such as medication errors, neglect, family conflict, and elder abuse. Family caregivers are most often individuals with no medical training, so many are unfamiliar with the type of care they should provide and the amount of care that is needed. As such, family caregivers may not know when they need resources or how to access these resources. Discussions around caregiving activities are often very surface level and do not adequately emphasize the complex and stressful nature of these daily tasks. For instance, stating that caregivers assist with bathing routines does not capture the full picture, such as the older adult refusing or the hassles of this, or administering medicine is not as simple as it seems. Caregiving tasks can be anxiety-provoking for the best of nurses, yet family caregivers are implementing these activities in their daily routines. Do you still believe that families can do this on their own? Let's hear from Avery, a caregiver of 6 years. I connected with Avery over the phone to chat about what it meant to be supported during her caregiving journey.
My name is Avery. Over the last 6 years, I've been a caregiver to my mother, who is 75 years old and faces many physical challenges. In the beginning, it's really difficult to accept that you're a caregiver because that's not what you associate your roles with. You think of yourself as a daughter, someone who you want to be there for to help and do what you can in relation to caregiving. My mother gave her whole life to me, and now it's my turn to return this to her. I have been her primary caregiver, but I have recently sought out and found a community of caregivers, which has been a beneficial tool. I want to be an advocate for other caregivers to help get the support they need.
Do you agree with the myth that families alone can provide all the care an older person needs?
No, I do not agree with that myth. I was failing emotionally and physically. I was on the verge of an emotional breakdown. I had a friend who introduced me to your podcast and told me about the community of support you have built through your platform and how it could be of benefit to me. At first, I was kind of hesitant because I didn't have time to sit down and listen to a podcast. But then I acknowledged that I needed help. It's very difficult for a caregiver to take that first step because we often think we don't need help. But having a community of caregivers to share and connect with is so important. The more you learn, the more information you have, and the better you're going to be as a caregiver. You're not alone in this journey. It is okay to ask for help. It's the best thing you can do for your loved one and yourself.
Thank you for sharing your story here with us today, Avery. I think many caregivers will be able to relate to you and your struggles. I'm so happy to hear our podcast introduce you to a community of support. Support networks offer a chance for your feelings to be seen, heard, and validated. Like many other caregivers, it wasn't until the pressure of caregiving brought Avery to her lowest point that she was given a nudge to accept support. As Avery mentioned, you do not have to do this on your own. Make that connection and get the support you need, just like Avery, by calling Family Caregivers at 1-977-520-3267. Thank you for listening and taking the time to learn and care for yourself with the Caregiving Network. If you find these episodes helpful, please share them with your family and friends who may find it helpful to hear these stories. Please remember that you are not alone and you always have a community of support here with the Caregiving Network.